All right. Hello, friends, family, random internet acquaintances. Welcome to yet another episode of the Teacup for One Movie Marathon Movie Club. This is a very special episode because it's the last time that we're talking about a Peter Pan adaptation as part of our Peter Pan movie marathon. Oh, also introductions. My name is Matt and I have 2 degrees. So if this is your first time joining us, two of you. If this is your first time joining us, the 2 of you, it's probably my mom and her cat. Just how it works is every week we get together and we discuss a different movie, and they're all kind of tied together with different themes. So for the past 4 weeks, we've been coming together to discuss different adaptations of Peter Pan. We started with the musical, which is still my favorite, followed up with a Disney animated one. Last week, we had the live action film from 2003. And now this week, we are circling back to a 90s classic, a 90s cult classic, loved by many, except for me. And actually a few people that I polled on Instagram, I discovered I'm not alone. Hook. Some people love it. I tolerate it. Sure. It's long. I don't know. It is magical. We'll get into my thoughts on it later. But anyway, we have some extra special guests that we have joining us here for this evening. And if you're here in the comments, let us know. Drop a comment. Say hello. I already see we have some friends here. We've got Bob Hunt. Hey, Bob. Good to have you. Who else is here? We've got some new friends joining. Sound off in the comments. Let us know. And let us know what you think about Hook. Are you like, yeah, it's a classic? Or are you like me, where you just think, why was this made? Who knows? Oh, look who we have here. It's Jeanette. Wait a second. We don't need to just have Jeanette in the comments. We can have Jeanette on screen.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Jeanette. It's TinkerJ787 of Instagram, everyone.
I'm here. I'm finally back again.
So happy to have you. Welcome back, Jeanette. You know the drill. For anyone who may not be familiar, let us know who you are, what you do. And I think you just joined a very exciting new venture. Tell us all about that.
I am TinkerJ787 on Instagram. You can find me on there. You can also find me here on Teacup for One Movie Club most times. I have been a running guest / co-host on We Like Theme Parks for a little bit. Now I'm an official co-host, and we're on the Disnerdy Network. So you should go check out the Disnerdy Network on YouTube and on Instagram. And we'll be starting a new venture. Me and Miss Miriam, the Churro Fun, and Miss Sammy D from JSA Creations will be the Dole Whip Darlings. And we will be on Sunday nights, starting, I believe, May 22nd. So.
That's amazing. I don't think I know your third co-host.
No, but you will find out about her soon enough. Yes.
Oh, thrilling. I can't wait. Dole Whip Darlings. Going to be so much fun. So what's the log line? What's the pitch for Dole Whip Darlings? Do you have
Dole Whip Darlings
things you talk about, or
we're going to talk all things cute Disney. We're also going to talk Disney trends, Disney fashion, bounding. We are going to talk about, we're going to have a little bit of a fan club. So every week there'll be a different fan club. My first obligation is Brendan Fraser. So that is, So we'll have a little bit of fun all over the place, but mostly focusing on Disney trends, cute Disney, and the things that Miriam and I love anyway.
Disney's so cute. I can't wait. Brendan Fraser. Moon Knight is making me want to revisit the Mummy series so badly.
Doesn't it give you Mummy vibes? Oh my God, I love
it. Did you see today's episode? So good. Yes. No spoilers, but so good. I love that hippo. Good. And I can't wait for the Funko Pop, because of course, that character's there to be a Funko Pop.
Right.
There's no doubt.
It's rife with Funko Pops.
Yes,
I want the Khonshu Funko Pop. Oh my gosh.
I don't like Khonshu. I love the character. I love the voice. Just the floating head, the design overall. I'm it's not doing it for me. I don't know what they could have done different.
Yeah, it's very me.
Yeah. All right. I respect that. Here we go. All right, let's check out the comments. Who do we have here? We have, Surfer Girl 326. Hello. We have one fan of Hook right there. Bob Hunt sent in his hellos. Mandy Adams, hello. Another fan of Hook. Fantastic. Well, you know what? Let's bring another fan of Hook onto the chat. It is our other guest for this evening. It's Lisa, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Lisa. Welcome back. Happy to have you.
I'm so happy to be back. I always love chatting movies with y'all. So, yeah.
Brilliant. So, Lisa, same thing. For those who might not know you, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about what you do, and if you've got anything super exciting coming up.
Absolutely. I am Lisa Alves. You can find me on Instagram at Lisa_A_Alves, where I post a lot about my hamsters, Eleanor Waffles and Theodora Umbrella. They have their own posts and their own Instagram accounts, so make sure to follow them as well. But I'm a theater producer in Toronto, Canada. I work at Cahoots Theater, and we have yet to announce our show coming up in June. But stay tuned next week because we will be announcing it.
I keep checking. I'm like, what's the show?
I know. I'm just so excited. I'm like itching because I haven't produced live work since 2020. So it's going to be a blast.
Fun. But I saw, there's like a theater festival coming up, isn't there? Or something involving like Black male playwrights? Is that a thing that I saw?
Yeah. So
okay, I wasn't sure if that was the play or
no. That's one of our development programs. So Cahoots is like a huge advocate for artist development and mentorship. So we just released a program called Black Panther, a play on Black Panther, and it's a few Black Canadian playwrights, male Canadian playwrights, and they're being dramaturged by an amazing Canadian theater artist, Jordan Lafreniere. So yeah, we'll be posting about their work and supporting them throughout. Yeah, it's just great to support artists and their plays. So
absolutely, that's so exciting. I went to university with one of them. I don't know if you would remember me. Yeah, Caleb.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I love Caleb. Caleb Alexander. He is like a Canadian gem. And
he's in the Harry Potter play.
Yes, he is.
I shouldn't be as excited about that play overall as I am, but I can't help it.
I know it's like such like unfortunate circumstances with the writer, but I mean, like it's touched a generation, like so many generations. So you can't be too mad, and it's creating jobs for artists who haven't had jobs throughout the pandemic. So.
And it's like a major commercial production in Toronto, which we haven't had in a long time, like a long-standing sit-down production. Like, I hope it's going to be here for a while. They knocked down the theater and rebuilt it for this show. So
yeah, they've done like so much, and they were. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole other conversation for another time. But I mean, I think it's a real testament to how important live theater is and live storytelling. So I'm glad that, you know, the for-profit theater sector is doing what they can for it. I work in the nonprofit side, so very little resources.
I've decided I am fully now behind both sides of the spectrum, and the middle is where I'm like, I'm not supporting you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like the regional theaters, the theater festivals, the exclusive clubs where they're like, we're elite, but we want your money, but don't want to give you jobs. Another conversation for another day. But I'm like, you know what?
You're technically an arts worker, Matt. You deserve to get the arts worker tickets. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But no, for now, I'm either behind like passion projects, nonprofit theater, or giant commercial theater. That's like me going to a theme park. Done. One of those. Love it all. Entertain me, people. That's all I want. Let's check here. Oh, Eliza, the cat's here. My mom's cat. She's watching the replay of Johnny and Amber in court. And my mom's not home yet. Okay, Eliza, good luck with that.
Johnny Depp. I'm very upset that we're not watching Finding Neverland. And I continuously say this.
We can discuss Finding Neverland. I don't like it.
Lisa and I are going to have our own Peter Pan.
We'll do it ourselves.
Oh, like, I don't know. It's like, it's fine, I guess. Just, it's kind of the same issue I have with this movie, but also totally different. I think it's a very beautiful movie to look at. I love Kate Winslet. I love Johnny Depp. I love Freddie, what's his face? The Good Doctor. I think it's like exceptionally well cast. Just the script isn't it. It's just it's playing on the popularity of a brand without really honoring what the story and what that author's life was about. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, they could have made the same movie and had the same emotional impact while still digging into how complicated J.M. Barrie was, but the fact that they turned it kind of into Sunday in the Park with George, where he was someone who's just so like consumed by his work and that affects his marriage. Like, that's not why his marriage didn't work. It was more complicated than that.
What's the problem with that? Sunday in the Park with George is an amazing musical.
We'll save that for June.
We need the behind the music documentary style Finding Neverland.
Yes.
Yes.
You didn't
Sunday in the
know.
Park with George. There. All right. Well, we should probably talk about Hook first. There's so many other things
Let's
to
do
talk about, though. Yes. Okay. So today we're talking about Hook, the kind of sequel to Peter Pan. Yeah, a staple in the childhoods of many, probably all those on screen at the very least, and many of those watching. So the typical question I like to open up with when it's a movie that many people have seen before: do you remember the first time you saw it, and what did it mean to you then? Then the follow-up question, which we'll come around to, will be, how does it hold up now? And for me, like, I saw it when it came out. I don't think I saw it in theaters, probably on VHS. And it was just a movie that was there, and I was interested in it. And just for whatever reason, it never appealed to me. It was just like, it's long. It's not the Peter Pan movie that I want, but I like Robin Williams, so that's fun. And I think it's because Jack, the son, just reminded me of all the douchey sports playing kids in my class. And so I was like, I can't sympathize with you because you're a baseball player. And they're the ones who are mean to me at school. So I have no sympathy for you, kid. That was my take as like 5 or 6 year old Matt. Jeanette, how about you?
So I feel like I did go see it in theaters, but I would have been about 4.
Mhm.
I do remember owning the VHS from like as early as you could own the VHS and watching it continually. Robin Williams, like I'm sure for many people, was huge for me, was huge for my family. We adored him, and we pretty much saw every movie we could of his. Also, Disney was huge in my family. I don't think I really knew that this wasn't a Disney movie until I got much older. This movie was one of the first movies that drove home the point to me of how strong imagination is, of how strong that what a child wants and what a child thinks about is important. I think when you're very little, you feel unimportant. Some children might not. I don't think my parents did that to me. I think it's just this feeling of diminutiveness, and this movie really gave power to children. And I think while I had seen the animated Peter Pan plenty of times at that age, that was a Disney movie. Of course, children were important, and that was the thing. Like, but this one was adults, and they were functioning in an adult setting, and like it was more important that the children were a bigger deal. So this played a huge role for me, and every time I've watched it, literally up until just a few minutes ago, when I finished watching it for probably the 100th, 200th time in my life, I still notice new things. Like this time it's a stupid little thing, but I didn't notice that Hook had a little black cocktail umbrella in his drink at one point. I was like, where did the little black cocktail umbrella come from? This is amazing. Every time I watch it, I notice something new. So, and that's literally not a lie, like every time. So I love it, needless to say.
Yeah, no, and definitely it's a movie that has a lot of layers and a lot of stuff and Easter eggs, which I do very much appreciate about it, because I think it's well made in some ways. And one thing that I remember I've always liked about this movie is that for the longest time, it was like the only live action Neverland that we had. So just to see like animated Neverland brought to life in such a lush, beautiful way, like I've always found that really
on that
magical.
note, my daughter asked while she was watching it with me, she kept going, is that CGI? Is that CGI? And I go, literally none of this is CGI. Like maybe how small Tink is, but even that's not technically CGI. It's just shot and laid over.
Yeah.
I was like, those are all sets. She goes, they're running on that. I'm like, yeah, that's real.
That's so precious.
Actually, I'm wondering how they did Neverland, if it was a matte painting, like actually
It
when
was
he's
a matte
flying over
painting.
it. Was it? Okay, I
Yeah.
miss matte
Yeah,
paintings
you can
so
tell
much.
in some scenes, but you have to like really pause it and look at it.
Matte paintings are always so much better than CGI.
They have a lot of depth. Yeah.
Yeah, they just add so much and just make it look so much more. It holds up so much better than even the best CGI does. I don't like CGI. Anyway, Lisa, I like you. What's your opinion on this movie as a child? We'll get to adult opinion in this.
Yeah, as a child, I remember I never saw it in theaters, and I never owned the VHS, but it was always on TV. It was always on like TBS or TCM or AMC. Like It was always on, and I always made it a point to stop what I was doing and watch it. And I loved it. I loved it as a kid. And I think it was because as a kid, my dad used to work a lot. He's a contractor and had jobs that were far away from home. And so I related to the kids a lot. I mean, my dad's not like Robin Williams in the movie where he's like an asshole, but like that sense of like, you know, being an adult, having a ton of responsibilities, being away from home, being distracted, like that was very relatable to me. And to like see Robin Williams's journey as Peter and like rediscovering his childhood reminded me of my dad, like when I used to play in the yard with him and play soccer with him. So it was very like nostalgic and very warm and friendly. I too did not like the son, Jack, even as a kid. And we can speak more about that later. But like I loved the mom. I loved
Moira.
Maggie Smith, Wendy. I loved Rufio. Oh my god, I love Rufio.
Right. I think as a little girl, we were all just like, Rufio's the coolest. He shows his belly.
Cool.
It's so cool.
So cool. And like his storyline is like, oh my god. I love Dustin Hoffman. I'm sorry. I remember, okay, when I started watching it this weekend, like Dustin Hoffman's a short man, and I always picture like a tall hook. I don't think I'll really like Dustin Hoffman in this viewing, but still holds true. Like one of the best hooks. Loved his performance. Such a caricature. I loved it. And
I was commenting earlier that I didn't realize till I was like a fully grown adult that was even Dustin Hoffman. Like, you know, before IMDb was a thing, right? You're sitting there, it didn't even, because he had so transformed, not just the makeup, which I looked up with the Oscars, and I was like, this had to win costume or makeup or set design or something. It was nominated for all of them, but Terminator 2 beat it out for makeup, which makes total sense. The costume design, Bugsy beat it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Bugsy?
Beat this for
Warren
costume
Beatty?
design. Yeah.
Ugh.
Can't even
Just
remember
saying,
the costume.
just saying,
for that.
blew my mind. My mind.
Not impressed.
Beauty and the Beast beat it for best song. Deserved.
Which
though.
is, that's
deserved.
understandable. Yeah.
So I had no interest in hearing that kids sing on the dock any longer than they showed us.
Very sad.
That's totally fair. Yeah. That was a little annoying. But I will say, I remember last week when we were talking about the 2003 Peter Pan, how there was like a sense of like nostalgia with like the colors and just the production overall. And that didn't hit me for that movie, but for this one, it hit me as a child. Like it's so full of nostalgia. What you were saying with your kid, Jeanette, like when I saw it for the first time as a kid, I remember like the roller coaster tracks and thinking how like that's so cool.
Yeah.
And like how I would love to be on like a type of playground like that.
It's a shame that this wasn't Disney, because if that form of Neverland existed in the parks, I mean, who knows if it'd still be there. But
It would be gone by now, but it would be like,
would have died. I mean, like, I was like, I think I wanted this as a child. I'm pretty sure.
Well, like what really stood out to me with this Neverland, and specifically like I'm of two minds with like the Lost Boys culture that they create in this movie, because it, as a human and as a kid, they're not kids that I would want to hang out with. I think that's another thing that stressed me out. Like there was just way too much chaotic energy.
Oh no,
I was like,
I love them.
this is not fun. But like creatively and artistically, I think it's brilliant. Like I think that's one of the best things. Like they created such a smart, well thought out world and culture like for the Lost Boys that was just very much true, I think, to the original Lost Boys, but still reflective of the 90s and that time period. It's like this is what the Lost Boys would be like in this generation, like with the basketball hoops and the roller coaster and like the skateboarding thingy. And yeah, like I think so brilliant. And the food fight scene is so well done. Like I think that's my favorite part of the whole film.
So good.
Just between colors and
Nola kept sitting there. She was like, so are they eating? Like she kept asking questions. Like, just wait. just wait. It's going to be so good. Just wait a few more seconds. It's going to be amazing. Because when I was a kid, that scene where he flips the empty spoon and then it turns to Rufio and it hits him, like as a kid, that was like, oh my God, it's on. And then you know, all heck explodes.
Food fight scenes were like so big. Like
huge in the 90s.
The 90s and early millennia. Like it was such a thing. So, and it still holds true. I love a good food fight scene.
Oh yeah, it's like a staple of classic 90s kids cinema. Yeah. You need a food fight scene. This definitely set the bar for sure. Absolutely. All right, let's check in on the comments here. Mandy saying her hellos. Mandy has a hamster named Wendy.
Oh my God, Mandy, please, connect with me on Instagram because I love hamster photos. So I would love to see hamster Wendy. That's amazing.
Nice.
It's such a good name. All right. Oh, I didn't realize Johnny Depp was my cat's hero. Good to know. Liza, I'll get you like a little Captain Jack Sparrow toy. Dustin was a good hug. See, I kind of have the reverse reaction with Dustin Hoffman in this movie. It's not that I didn't recognize him as Dustin Hoffman. It's that this was my first exposure to Dustin Hoffman. So to me, anything else he's ever been in is not Dustin Hoffman. Like when I see The Graduate, I'm like, that's not Captain Hook. When I see Kramer versus Kramer, I'm like, it's not Captain Hook. Who, like, what's the deal?
You're always like comparing it to Captain Hook?
Yeah. Like, because this is my first ever exposure to Dustin Hoffman.
I mean, let's be honest. This and Meet the Parents was really his best roles ever. So...
Wow, I love Dustin Hoffman. He can do no wrong to me.
He really can't. No.
What about when he hit the car and said, "I'm walking here. I'm walking"?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And then he closes the guy's eyes at the end on the bus, and then it's sad.
Oh,
is that Midnight Cowboy?
That's Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah. Oh, good movie. Oh, come back here. There were Hook trading cards. Again, very 90s. Me, this movie is it's pure 90s nostalgia. Both in terms of it reminding me of like the culture of being a kid in that era, but even just looking back on it, the way that it's shot, just everything about it is very 1990s, which I guess brings me to the next question. How does it hold up watching this movie now as an adult? And like I said, kind of before we went on the air and before we went live, rewatching it this weekend, I made peace with the fact that I just don't like this movie. For the longest time, I was of the mentality of like, is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. But then I was like, no, I just, it's okay. I don't like this movie. It's partially because I feel like it's really long. And I think there was some, oh yeah. But this is the thing. I don't care if a movie is long, if it'll keep me engaged, and the movie doesn't keep me engaged. And I don't know why. I can't articulate why. It should be more fun for me to watch a Peter Pan movie. I think it's partially, again, because Jack just reminds me of all the annoying kids I went to school with, and that's nobody's fault. And actually, I think Jack is probably the best actor in this movie. I like for his performance. I love Jack in this movie.
You like compared to Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman, or like as the kids?
No, because I think that's another issue. I don't think this movie is using Robin Williams properly. I think for when this was made, like at the height of his popularity, it feels like it's leaning into his Robin Williams isms in moments when it's not appropriate. So I think when he like becomes Peter and accepts that, then that's when at peak Robin Williams, it's great. And we all know like he's one of the greatest actors ever. And was definitely capable of pulling off where Peter is at the beginning when he's just a lot angrier and more reserved. But before he actually started to make the transformation, there were still like little moments of Robin Williams humor peppered into like Peter Banning in ways that kind of took me out of it. Like he was just making little jokes that were very much Robin Williams, I think, being self-aware as an actor, that made me just think like, ugh, this isn't it. And I think that's more of a directorial choice where Spielberg was just like, you're Robin Williams, do whatever you want, as opposed to reining it in a bit more. Because I think it would have been more effective for me, this whole arc, if they just really embraced how awful he was at the beginning. But even like when he gets to Neverland and that whole part when they're like, be a pirate, and then Tink is coaching him, he's just like, he drops into the physicality easier than I believe that character would be capable of doing, like than Peter Banning would, when she's like, hunch, scrunch up your face. And then it's just like, all of a sudden I'm not watching Peter Banning, the lawyer, I'm watching Robin Williams doing fun physical comedy. So like that kind of takes me out of that a bit. I think that one thing that I still don't know how I feel about this. And it's probably the most obvious thing about the movie that I just didn't pick up on until very recently, is that it's like beat for beat the Peter Pan story, just in a new context, which I do like, but I don't know. I would have preferred either for Spielberg to outright make a Peter Pan movie, because this feels like a sequel to a film that I want to exist that doesn't. Because everything that we see in flashbacks of Spielberg's
I
vision of
always did
Neverland,
think I would have loved a prequel to
I would have
this.
been so on
I
board with
would
that.
have really loved that. Because you do wonder how Rufio became, because he hands off at the end, right? He hands off the leadership of the Lost Boys.
Mhm.
But Rufio doesn't seem to have ever really known him. So, like, right? Because I get that vibe. Like, he never really knew Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wonder how he came to be. I
That
do
movie
wonder.
exists, apparently.
It does.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
the
it
guy who
like
played
Grease 2
Rufio.
and we all just decide it doesn't really exist?
I
Grease
thought
2
people,
is so
people
good.
loved Grease 2.
Oh my
But
god.
Grease 2 was a fan favorite.
Sorry.
Cool Rider.
Stand Grease 2.
No, the guy who played Rufio was crowdfunding to make a movie, like a Rufio origin story.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it actually
Oh.
happened, but I know he wanted it to happen.
Oh, well, that I would eat that up. I would have loved that, because I was thinking that during this viewing, and I think like the last time we watched it at the beginning of the pandemic in like a little sheet fort, and it was so much fun. And it was so, but I thought that I was like, I would really love to see, and they never really get into John and Michael too much either, and like I really want.
I think they're dead.
That's what
It's
I
really
figure,
sad.
because they're obviously Wendy's brother and sister, right? But they're younger. So I mean, not sister, brother and brothers,
Yeah,
whatever.
brother. Yeah.
And like I'm like, where are they? So I would love a prequel to this. I think with the Robin Williams thing, like when you were saying, I see that. I think that's something that we feel now because we know his other roles. But you think this was 1991. He hadn't done Mrs. Doubtfire. He hadn't
True.
done Jumanji. He hadn't done like countless other things that we know these mannerisms from.
Mhm.
So I feel like that might be, and I do see where you're coming from, but I don't think they ever want you to fully dislike him. Just like I don't think they ever really want you to fully dislike Hook until later in the film when he actually gets violent and like truly hateful, not just comical, like, you know, like an actual caricature of himself. But yeah, I could see that the pacing's a little strange because they do slow down for very long periods.
Yeah, the middle of the
either
movie is just so
for
feels
they
convoluted a
the
little
battle scenes and like the baseball scene, all of those kind of slow it down a little bit. The girl's song is kind of punctuated in there. I do think that part tells a little bit of a story with the pirates, but at the same time, like there are some points in there where there's a lot of really good action and you're feeling really excited for what's about to come. And then there is kind of an like an extended battle scene or some sort of scene that stops everything for a little bit longer than it should. It is about 2.5 hours, maybe 15 minutes shaved could have been useful, I'm sure. Because that was a really long movie for then, right?
like
I feel like we
90
didn't get a ton of 2.5 hour long movies until just a few years later when Titanic kind of set the bar for everything.
Yeah, like I almost wonder too if that was just because they had such an all-star cast that they had to showcase adequately. Like as I liked Julia Roberts a lot more than I remembered liking her in this film. So I'm not complaining that we got as much Tink as we did. But if I were to edit the movie, I don't think we needed as much Tink as we got. Like that whole scene when she becomes big, and then she's like, "I've always been in love with you, Peter," which now kind of awkward because like she knew him when he was a kid. I'm like,
well, I mean, they kind of dive into that at the beginning too, right? With Wendy when she's
that's so like Back to the Future messed up, but I'm here for it.
But that's just it. I'm like, I do, and whenever we first talked, way back the first week of Peter Pan month, and I said there are some things about Tink and Peter's relationship of unrequited love, of caretaking, but also having feelings for. He's a boy who doesn't understand this. Now he's a man who does. Like, I really enjoy that dynamic because it is slightly uncomfortable and because it's not something that really is a common romantic theme in many movies, like this weird, you're a tiny person and I'm like a boy, now I'm a man. I love that whole crazy dynamic because it doesn't really have to make sense, but it plays an emotional role in things, and I like that.
Yeah, I do like that's very true to how to like the other stuff that J.M. Barrie wrote as well. He wrote another play called Mary Rose, which is about a kid whose mom just like disappears when he's 7 or 8, and then she kind of becomes a ghost, but not, who lives in a house, and he like finds her again like in a crawl space in this house when he's 30, and then she's younger than him, and so they kind of like reconnect, and she doesn't know who he is, and it's this really complicated, confusing story that kind of has echoes of the same things, where it's just like, how do these relationships evolve as people grow and as people don't. But yeah, Jeanette, how do you feel this movie holds up, if we haven't addressed it yet?
I personally, I think it holds up. I don't think that there's so much like era early 90s. Like there is enough to make it feel like that, but I don't think that there's enough to make it feel dated. I don't, because Neverland is Neverland, right? The only thing that seems dated in this whole thing is his like real human life, the cell phone and the corporate pirating. And like, I think if you weren't alive at that time, that might all seem a little weird. You know, like when we were watching it, I was like, you see those cell phones? And she goes, oh, my daughter goes, oh, flip phones. Like, you know, it's exciting.
That's so cute.
It's a very exciting. So like, I think that's the only thing that's really like noticeably dated. The rest of it all works wonderfully.
So Lisa, how does it hold up for you?
Yeah, I think it still holds up. I do agree it's too long. I'm a person who loves an hour and a half movie, and this could have been 2 hours easily. I found the basketball and the skateboarding very 90s for some reason. Like I was watching it with my partner and he was like, this is dating the movie with the skateboard and the basketball. But like it was I think the reason why it still holds up for me, and it's probably the same thing as people who watched Peter Pan 2003, was because it had such like a heavy nostalgia factor for me as a kid. But I will say that like I got a lot of the Robin Williams jokes because it was like adult humor. Like him and Rufio were like going back and forth, like calling each other names, and he called him a nearsighted gynecologist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that went right over my head as a kid. I had no idea. And I was like, this weekend, I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah. That was another thing I didn't notice till this viewing. That specific, I noticed all the other ones.
So
I think
I had to rewind it. I was like, did he say gynecologist?
Yeah. And then like Sunny also said, I just had an apostrophe instead of I had an epiphany. And I was like, it's just really good writing. And even if it was like improv, it's like very not highbrow, but it's like intelligent, and I get it now as an adult. So it definitely holds up for me. I definitely still appreciate it, but I understand where you're coming from, Matt, in terms of like the Robin Williams isms. Though I will say the part where he's like trying to find like Peter Pan again was like so like rigid for me. I was like, just get on with the story. I want to see him fly. I want to see him fight. I want to see him like bring the Lost Boys with him. So I wanted it to be like a more smoother transition, but I understand where you're like coming from of like, it should have been more difficult for him because that is more believable. But if they just shortened that, then the movie would have been shorter. So it would have been perfect.
No, and like I think the Robin Williams isms work in all stages of the character. Like he has this line that I'm positive was a Robin Williams improv where he says something like, "Is this a Lord of the Flies day camp?" or something like that. Like that was brilliant. I was like, this is that Robin Williams brilliance channeled in a way that's serving where this character needs to be at this point in the story, in a way that doesn't feel like Robin Williams the actor is commenting on the role or the story, but just feels like natural. And I think I wanted more of that focus because I love like a movie that shows me a really amazing character arc, which is what this in theory should be on paper. And like on paper, I think I like this movie better in theory than in practice. And I don't exactly know where it kind of went off the rails for me, but just the idea of grown-up Peter Pan, genius, having to connect with his kids, genius, and like exploring that parent-child dynamic from the opposite perspective, I think is great. But it felt like by the time we got to the third act of the film, certain things didn't necessarily feel earned.
Right.
Like the like yeah.
It does take a while to get where it's going, and then once it gets there, it moves a lot faster than
Yeah.
the rest of it. And I do agree that had we found it kind of more towards the middle, we would have gotten more time in that warm and fuzzy place.
Yeah.
And that I don't even think I ever noticed that till we're sitting here talking about it. I'm like, yeah, we do spend like 3/4 of the movie getting to that point, and then we only get 1/4 with Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And very little of it actually just being in Neverland, like being him in Neverland. And then he goes straight to the battle, and that's it.
I wonder, like, your point, Matt, about it like not feeling like it's completely earned is because like Spielberg and the rest of the team just are expecting the audience to be like, this is Peter Pan. Like, we know the story of Peter Pan. We've spent however long trying to get him to this point. Just buy into it now. And maybe that's like a cop out, and maybe that's lazy storytelling. But I think it kind of works because it's Peter Pan. I think because it's such like a canon character in Disney and in just literature. So maybe that's what they were going for, and maybe that's like what's happening. I can see how like that could be a thing. Like, I could see Spielberg making that decision, being like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's Peter Pan."
Yeah, no, I think this movie does rely a lot on the assumption that people go into it having all the context they need, which
Yes,
everyone does for the most part.
very much so. I would agree, because they do make lots of references, like the whole Toodles thing. I love that they do show you eventually that he's a lost boy.
Yes.
And that story, that whole like sub storyline has like been one of my favorite storylines for a long time. I love the Toodles storyline. But like, if you don't, I don't know, if you don't have some concept of the Lost Boys and knowledge of like why they are Lost Boys and all of that, and you will, some things will be lost on you if you don't have that prior knowledge.
Yeah, like I wonder what this movie would be like to someone who sees it knowing nothing about Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Disney Dado is saying that it's the same screenwriter as several Muppet movies.
Ooh.
So
I would, and that makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I feel like, but for Muppets, it's cool. You spend 3/4 of the movie getting where you got to go, and then 1/4 of it actually living in that excitement. But in this one, I think the payoff would have been nice, just a little touch sooner.
A little bit, yeah.
I think the payoff I wanted a little bit more of was, I think I wanted more Hook. Ironically, like he's the title character, but really it should just be called Grown Up Peter Pan, because Hook is very much the supporting role. And the thing that I find the most interesting that I wish was explored more was Hook stealing Jack as a father figure and seeing that relationship actually grow. Because like Jack, rewatching it now, like Jack is my favorite part of the movie. I think he gives the most earnest performance out of everyone, and like that kid is so good, and it makes me sad that this is the movie that made him quit acting, because he could have done so much. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
Was he in Sandlot before this? Or
I don't think he was
this?
Sandlot. He's the kid in Dick Tracy.
That's it. Yeah, no, you're right. Dado told me that earlier. Yep, you're right.
He did a lot of other things too, but then after this, he was in nothing until I think Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh.
He returned for like a movie when he was a teenager, but all of the roles that he was offered went to Elijah Wood. And it's all because Dustin Hoffman, while shooting, just turned him in. He was like, "Get out of this business now before you ruin your life. It's terrible."
This is so funny. Throughout the movie, I realized I didn't like Jack because he was the type of kid that I didn't like as like a kid growing up.
Oh yeah, me too. I hated those kids.
I didn't like he was so sporty and like a little schmarmy. But it was so funny. He looked like Elijah Wood to me and my partner watching it. We were like, "Is that Elijah Wood?" It's like, no, but like, and it makes sense that all of his roles went to Elijah Wood because they look alike as kids.
That's so
in another
funny.
reality, he could have been our Frodo.
Oh.
But like, I just think he dials in the emotion in a way that I don't think we see from a lot of kids in movies. Like the scene where he's like hitting the clocks and like smashing the clocks, I think is so brilliant. And I think the movie would have been more interesting for me if they layered in a scene where like Hook starts off just wanting the kids to love him so that it hurts Peter. But if we actually saw Hook getting into the father figure role and like actually making a connection in some way, I think that would have been interesting, because then he would be more emotionally invested, and then we have an actual conflict as opposed to just another play in his chess game.
When I was a kid, I remember that part of the storyline, Hook and Jack, being so much more important to me than watching it now. Like I not that I don't care about it, but like I was like, all right, let's get back to Peter and Tink. And like when I was a kid, that was like, oh my God, this kid's forgotten his parents. Like it was so scary. That was a scary thought to me, you know? And now I'm like, whatever. Like that part of the story's okay. Sure. Yeah. I'm like, but I remember it being so much more important to me as a kid.
I agree. I had that same feeling as a kid, because maybe it's because I really liked his interactions with Hook, because Hoffman is an amazing actor, and like the play between them was so like delicious. Yeah. I wish there was more Hook, because it was the title character, and
no, they just knew how to sell a movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and like the Hook suicide scene, just comic gold, where he's like, "Don't try to stop me, Smee."
Yeah.
I know.
That whole scene in the cabin between him and Smee is probably the funniest part of the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I think as far as like
Disney Daddo knows. Bob.
Yeah.
We love
were talking about, and then, you know, Roger Rabbit, and because we were sitting there and I was like, oh yeah, Bob, what is it? Hopkins. And I go, yeah, you know, from Super Mario. And he goes, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I was like, oh yeah. That's right.
That guy.
But yeah, like he's also Mario. So I love that movie. And it's actually very hard to find.
Which one? Super Mario?
Yeah. It's like hard to find.
I feel like they don't want people to see it.
I need to see it. I've never seen it.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll do that another time.
Video game movie marathon.
Yeah.
What would that be? Mario?
There's a few.
I feel like there's a Tomb Raider movie.
Tomb Raider?
Red Dead Redemption. Is that a movie? Red Dead Redemption? No. Resident Evil is a movie.
Resident Evil is. And so is
That's a
Silent
video
Hill.
game?
Huh. Yeah.
Huh.
I do want to add one more thing about how it holds up now.
Yeah.
Is that okay? So he's supposed to be this workaholic, right, at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. The only thing we see of him at work is playing around and fooling around with like the whole shooting the gun as like the cell phone as the gun. I'm like, that's not working. You're not a workaholic. You're slacking off. So I don't buy that he was a workaholic. And
I think we're supposed to hate that he's having a good time and joking around with his coworkers, but then when he's with his kids, he's bossy and mean to them. He's not playing with them. He plays with his coworkers. He's a boss and works with his kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't like buy this whole like commentary that he's a workaholic anymore as an adult, because I'm like, if you're a real workaholic, you would not.
I also love that just simply answering your phone while you're at your child's play was a workaholic then. Like if that was the case now.
They're always like on their phones at their kids.
You have a cell phone out at your children's play.
I mean, even now though, that's still douchey.
Nah,
everybody's interacting with somebody else while they're interacting with somebody else now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's go to the comments. I think these are the other movies written by the same person. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is the writer, James V. Hart. All right, so we've kind of touched on performances that we liked. Who would you say was your favorite performance in this film, aside from Dustin and Robin? Like for me, it would be a toss-up between Julia Roberts and Jack. Actually, I'm just gonna say Jack, even though he's a kid that like would have bullied me in school. Now as an adult watching it, I'm just like, you're the emotional heart of the movie. You're the only character I actually care about here. I feel bad for you, and even though you're a baseball player, it's a stupid sport. But like Jack is so good, but also Julia Roberts. I don't think I understood how good her performance was as a kid. because at the beginning when she's doing the whole like I'm dead, clap louder, Peter, I didn't realize that she was playing with him. I thought Julia Roberts was just a bad actor when she does that whole scene where she like falls down the stairs and she's like, you have to clap louder, Peter. I don't know why the penny didn't drop. I didn't know that she was faking it. I was just like, Julia Roberts, this woman's a terrible actress. And that kind of set that set the standard for me with all Julia Roberts movies for years. Like it took me a long time to appreciate her.
Oh God!
But I get what she's doing now, and I really like her. She might be my favorite Tink out of all the Tinks. Yeah.
So I will say, I'll start if we're excluding Robin and Dustin.
Yeah.
Julia Roberts has been one of my favorite actresses for my entire life. That said, out of all the Julia Roberts performances, I do think she did great. She did great in this. I do feel like it was not hard things necessarily to act, like the things she had to do. I would venture to say that my favorite performance in this, and forgive me, I do not know the character's name, but I call him Rolly because when he tucks and rolls. But that kid's performance in this movie, how heartfelt he is. When he tells Robin about his favorite memory is his mother, just that one line where he goes, "Do you remember your mother?" I bawl. Like I can't. It sounds
the kid he
so...
used the sword to at the end.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I love him. I do. I
that
love him.
Kid, my whole life, he's to me has been the heart of the film. Like he's the heart. But and he's not the one who says it. But the line when that kid, the kids acting in this is amazing. But like the kid when he's pushing his face and he goes, "Oh, there you are, Peter." That man, those two kids. That's my favorite performances in this. Aside from Robin and Dustin, those are my favorite performances. Is those two kids.
Yeah, but actually, all the Lost Boys, I think, are just
all
amazing.
Very good.
Like, when they're the imaginary food, the level of commitment that every kid at that table has is amazing.
Yes,
like,
I do think, but it's so hard. It's so hard to, in my opinion, for a child to convey sentimentalness without having to be sad or having to be like mournful. Like usually it involves crying or freaking out or whatever. These kids like gave this sentimentality and they didn't do anything. They just changed their tone. And I just thought that was so touching. It still works on me today. And when I was a kid, it was touching. And I didn't even know that that's what was happening to me. I was like, it's so good.
Yeah, I feel like Peter Pan movies really show the spectrum of child actors. You kind of get the best of the best and the others.
Well, yeah. The Lost Boys, all the kids in this movie really outshine Jeremy Sumter from the last one. Yep. So there's that. Like all of those kids could have been an amazing like Peter Pan or like an older character when they like grew up because they had that intelligence. Like that scene where he's stretching his face and it's like, oh, there you are, Peter. There's this wisdom that that little boy brought that you don't see that a lot even in adult actors. So it was such a beautiful moment. Yeah.
Mandy's a fan of Maggie. Maggie, truthfully, probably my least favorite child in this movie.
As I age, she gets on my nerves more and more. I don't know what it is.
I don't know her now.
I'm not sure if she's done much else. But yeah. But Lisa, who's your favorite in the movie aside from the two leads?
I really liked Maggie Smith's performance as Wendy. I did think to myself, Maggie Smith has been this old for this long.
Yeah. She was really only in her 60s during this, so I don't know.
I think she was like 50s.
Yeah. She's 87 now. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely made her look older for sure. But I really liked, like, she can do no wrong. And I mean, it wasn't a difficult role to play, but like she did provide a very good foundation for the story to take off. She was a very
looked 80s. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not mean when I say that. That's just the fact. So I liked her. I love Julia Roberts. She is by far my favorite Tink because she brings that wisdom to Tinkerbell, but also like still holds that playfulness and that sweetness that I've always associated Tinkerbell with, which I don't think any other Tinkerbell has had in the versions we've watched since.
It took the meanness out of Tink, because they do give Tink a mean edge in pretty much every other iteration of this story.
Yeah,
and it's unnecessary here because Wendy's not there.
Wendy's not there, but also like you under. I mean, if you have the past knowledge of who like Tink was from like other iterations, she's grown. Like she's realized her ways. Like she's matured. This is like a character arc, so that was nice. And I like that she's not blonde. as a brunette, I remember always thinking like, oh, Tink is always blonde. I can't relate to her.
Even though since her physical appearances in things, she was originally supposed to be a redhead.
Interesting. Yeah. See,
the original character drawings for the animated one, she was a redhead.
Interesting. Yeah. I probably would have liked Tink more as a redhead in the Disney version. But I also, I just need to like, I think my top favorite would be Rufio. I love Rufio. I love his crop tops. I love his hair. I like that he's a bad boy. And then, you know, his unfortunate demise at the end is like so heartfelt. And I remember crying.
I had to skip it.
It's too painful.
I can't watch it. I can't, because he actually becomes a good person.
I wanted it to be more painful. In my memory, it was sadder, and rewatching it this weekend, I was like, that's it?
Oh my God. I can't stand when someone is bad or the bad boy. You know, he wasn't really evil or anything, but like bad. And then they genuinely change and then they die. That bothers me. R.I.P. Kylo Ren. I cannot stand when someone becomes good and then has to die immediately. I'm like, oh, it kills me.
Like that is such like a literary device that I kind of like, because they've learned their lesson. They're done. Like which is like awful and like sad, and that's so sad. But it's kind of like it's a bittersweet.
It is. It drives home a point like nothing else, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and like. I don't think at the time when I watched it as a kid, I had ever seen a kid die before.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that was really shocking to me. And revisiting it now, I think the actor handled it so well. Like the way that he did it and the way it was directed. But it was, heartbreaking. Totally heartbreaking. I love Rufio. He is an icon. I want to see the prequel to understand how Rufio becomes the leader.
I know, right?
I love it. I want to be part of the fandom. Excellent.
I said earlier too, looking at this now, I think Rufio had more had more influence on my future fashion choices in life than I would really care to give him credit for. Because if you look at me as a teenager, not much difference. Not much difference.
Awesome.
I love his stuff.
I will say that Bob Hoskins, his Smee is like the perfect Smee.
Oh, it's the best Smee.
Yeah,
it's the best.
I don't know what happened, but like I like the Smee in the Disney version, and I think he like embodied that times 10 and like gave it his own.
And so if you think about it, like he's the one that comes up with this little maniacal plan to make the children. I'm like, are you really evil? And Hook's not evil. He's just like a character. Like you might be the evil one.
I love that. I love that Smee is the master planner.
I love that he's not really an idiot in this either. He's affable. He can be a dimwit. He just doesn't have a large vocabulary, but he's not an idiot in this one. He like very much is like in the know about like what he needs to do for himself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so instrumental to any good Peter Pan adaptation is you need to have a solid dynamic between your Hook and your Smee.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And I just love this relationship that the two of them developed for this. Like again, it goes back to the "Don't try to stop me" Smee scene. Like that was just comic gold. And Yeah, and I think it is definitely a thing with Smee. It's a common thing to have him be the smarter of the two. I think that's just a comedic device in general, that the higher status person is usually the one who doesn't realize they're not the smartest person
But he speaks
in the
smarter,
operation.
you know?
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they played that really well. But he is definitely, like, I feel, the ultimate Smee out of all the Smees.
Yeah.
We have here. This is his role after Who Framed Roger Rabbit, proof that everyone wanted to work with Spielberg. Yeah, this was definitely like peak Spielberg. But yeah, something that I read today, Spielberg said that he didn't like this movie because he felt out of his element making it. He said he felt like a fish out of water and that he didn't have confidence in the script. So he said he felt like he felt confident with the beginning of the movie and confident with the end. And any place where he felt insecure, he just tried to make up for it with production value. And once I read that, suddenly all my issues with the movie had a bit more context. I was
No,
like, there it is.
I wonder if that's I like that a director, especially him, said that, because it makes him, you know, not this like godlike figure, but also that he relied on his team. Like the production design holds up.
Oh, yeah.
And like that, to have that type of relationship where a director is like, I don't know, maybe, but then really supporting the production designers to do what they're really good at. I love that. That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and the production design absolutely is one of the strongest things about the movie. Like,
Yeah.
for all my issues, I just like looking at the movie because it is.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think
feast for
this
the
movie
eyes.
works without all that. Like,
Mhm.
no, you're right. Like, this story would not carry itself necessarily. Robin Williams can do a lot of things, but I think without the amazing look of this movie, you don't have this movie, right? Like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. So what do I want to ask next? I got distracted. Now I've forgotten. Okay. Well, now that we've kind of gone through so many Peter Pan adaptations, I sort of want to cycle through and see what was everyone's favorite interpretation of each specific character. Because now we kind of have a solid vocab. And we can kind of go with ones that are outside of the sphere of what we've discussed this month. If there are any other Peter Pan adaptations that you want to look at or address. But yeah, so for here. Oh, sorry. People are complimenting me in the comments. I got distracted. You love my channel name. It's thank you. It is Alice in Wonderland inspired. Hold on. Aha.
So good.
There we go. Acting does save the film in some ways. Again, Robin Williams, the directing choices were made, could have been better, but still, we love Robin. So yeah, so let's start with, I guess, Tinkerbell. Out of all the Tinkerbells that we have seen, what is everyone's favorite version of Tinkerbell? For me, I personally, and it's the most basic and simplest answer, I like when she's just a light. I like the stage version where you don't see her, you just hear her, and then you see like different things lighting up on stage. And just something about that to me is infinitely more magical than actually seeing a human embody the role. Because I think fairies are like those types of magical creatures that, to me, the mystery is part of the magic. So, and also I just think there's so much theatricality to Peter Pan that makes it like come alive for me. Like to see, if I were in an actual space and I got to see a little light floating around, then all of a sudden like the dollhouse lights up and then stuff starts moving. I'm like, this is magic. So I like that. I like when Tink is just sort of a thing that exists in the story that I can't see because I'm an adult human, but it's brought to life by imagination. So like, I like Tink like that. But yeah, what does everyone else think for Tinks?
So as much as, like I said, Julia Roberts is in my top 3, maybe my number 1, like I just adore her. But my first is my favorite, and that is the animated Tinkerbell. I do miss a time before we knew what she sounded like. I kind of miss that. I do remember freaking out when I found out there was going to be a Tinkerbell movie, like just really just dying. I like was so happy. But that Tinkerbell is my favorite still. She's sassy. She saves the day. She's, like I don't know. She's just awesome, and she's pretty, and she's adorable, and she's the symbol of Disney magic. I mean, like she just is Disney magic.
She's on my shirt. Hold on.
Oh. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can roll my sleeve up far enough, but she's on my arm. I can.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's my classic. And I got the tattoo of her like as one of like the sketch drawings, like one of the original little concept drawing, but like not when she was a redhead. You should look up the pictures of her when she was a concept drawing. I forget what like Hollywood star she was supposed to look like. I can't remember. I want to say Mae West, but I could be totally wrong. But she had pretty much the same hair, but it was like orangey red. It was really cute. But I guess maybe once Peter was a redhead, they decided to change it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I like the Disney animated version so much because of like the iconic look of her, and like I had so many posters in my room as a kid of that Tinkerbell. But now with this rewatch, because I didn't like her demeanor and how like mean she was to everybody, I wish there could be like this happy medium. And I think it does exist with all the Tinkerbell movies and shows.
Yeah.
Of like Julia Roberts's Tinkerbell's demeanor in that type of Tinkerbell formation of the animated version. I loved it. I do, Matt, like when Tinkerbell is a light on stage, killer. I love that magic. It's so great. It's brilliant. But yeah, like for a movie, I appreciate a good animated version.
Yeah, and I think I love the animated Tinkerbell as well because it's kind of the same philosophy of why I like the light. I like the simplicity of it. And I like the fact that she doesn't talk. She is still just like a voice that's a bell. And it just brought Disney visual animated magic to it. So it was able to give us kind of a visual perspective of the character that we had never seen before. And I think that also is quite magical in and of itself, like getting to see her in the drawer with the threads and the needles and everything. And like just being in the Tink world, that is pure Disney magic in its own way as well. So I love both of them for the exact same reasons. Actually, most Tinks, I feel like you can't really go wrong with Tink. She's always going to be a fan favorite.
Character. I think like it's a fun role to play. I can imagine as an actor. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. So I'm getting distracted by the comments here. I love Tinkerbell movies, even Peter Pan. I'm glad we have. Yeah, see, Tinkerbell is just a fan favorite. You can still have a Disney child-inspired room with your age. Hey, I have so many Disney things in my room in my mid-30s.
Yeah, right behind me. That second shelf there is all Tinkerbell stuff, and then there's even a larger Tinkerbell down there.
Oh, that's
a Tinkerbell lamp. Another Tinkerbell.
I should bring back the Tinkerbell poster and just put it right over here.
Yes, right. There's a piece of art at Disney World that's there every year at the art festival, and we haven't bought it yet. We always say we're gonna buy it, but it's a black backdrop and it's like sparkly green, and then she's in like silhouette with like green pixie dust around her. It's so beautiful.
You should get that.
I know. Yes, we gotta get it. I love it. It's so beautiful. Anyway.
All right. So we've discussed Tinkerbell. What is our favorite version of cycling through? I guess Smee. We've kind of touched on it, but is there any Smee outside of Bob that really like hits it home for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go back to the animated one again, but I will mention that in that Kathy Rigby play that I was not extremely fond of, the Smee character in that one was one of my favorite people. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I did love that Smee as well. And yeah, almost it's the same as Tinkerbell. There aren't any Smees I don't dislike. The 2003 Smee was forgettable, but not bad, but just forgettable. But I do think Bob is it. Bob to me is the epitome of what a Smee should be.
Yeah, no, I think Bob was like great, and I like the way that he's written and played. Like I think like that's the top notch Smee.
Like that's the Smee that you tell future Smees to look to.
Yes. Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I do like the just the jolliness of the animated version. I like how he just was like all like bubbly and like such like he was almost like a Seven Dwarf character in that in his like styling, and I love that. He was just so sweet. But yeah, I like the master evil planner that Bob Hoskins did. Yeah.
And which grouping of Lost Boys is everyone's favorite?
I think this one. I think Hook.
This one?
Yeah.
wanted to
Even
be your friend.
above the animated one for me. Because in the animated one, I don't feel like you really get to know them.
They really
They're
annoy
just
me in
kind
the
of-
animated one. They're
They're
whiny
just
and they
the
wear
Lost
animals.
Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't wear. They wear the feathers, but they don't wear headdresses in this one. Indigenous headdresses, which I really appreciate, and I like. Good job, costume designers.
Right. And
Not
they
appropriating
made
culture.
the whole problematic part of most of anything out of this, right?
Yes, exactly. And like there was still like a heavy feature of BIPOC characters, which was great. So
Yeah.
like
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
like good job. I think that was like such a good direction. But these Lost Boys in this movie were so cool. They had like their little track roller coaster. They were playing b-ball. Like they were so cool. I definitely want to be one of them.
I also like that there's more age ranges. And I wondered, this was a random little thought I had about the Lost Boys while watching this time. When I was a kid, it was very strange to me that some of them were like teenagers.
Mhm.
And I wonder, is that because they became orphaned later in life? Because they don't grow there. And I am under the impression that you kind of go there when you are orphaned. Is that like, I don't know that that's ever clarified, but that was kind of the story I told myself, was that they were orphaned later in life.
I think that's how it goes. Yeah, because there's no aging in Neverland.
Yeah, even though Peter's brought there as a baby, so logically he would still be a baby, but like,
Yeah.
I kind of, again, suspension of disbelief. So I just was like, why? And that kind of struck me this time. Like, there's a lot of like teenage Lost Boys in this movie. Yeah. I don't know. Random thought about Lost Boys.
That's interesting. I think yeah, maybe it's because they were orphaned at an older age. Yeah.
I wonder if that's ever dived into in the books.
Yeah.
Bob Hunt, do you know? Because Bob says
Bob
only
Hunt, do you have the answers?
Bob, did the book tell us? Yeah, generally I'm not a fan of the Lost Boys. They're just there, but I do like the Lost Boys and Hook. I feel, even though the chaotic energy just stresses me out a little too much, they are still probably my favorites. Like, they're just such a good, they're so well cast, as we've already gushed about, and it's just such a good assembly of people. And again, the whole culture, love it.
I'm glad we all agree that the vampiric Lost Boys are no good.
Which ones are the vampiric?
I'm joking. The movie The Lost Boys.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Feldman.
That was good. I'm sorry that went over our heads. That was like a quality joke.
I was like, I hope
It
nobody
was.
says that. I'm a huge vampire fan, and I don't like that movie.
Really? I haven't seen it. Vampires scare me too much. But I know. And then they became like awkward and weird with Twilight. And I was like, now vampires are just stupid.
Those are not vampires.
They are, though.
They sparkle.
Yeah.
Sparkle.
So I think it's sparkle.
Vampires do not sparkle.
Okay. Save this for the Halloween movie marathon.
Yeah.
All right. So we've gone through Smee, Tinkerbell, Lost Boys. Who else? Are we at Wendy yet? Sure. Who's everyone's favorite Wendy? Loaded question, because I think she's the most important character, and there's not a Wendy I dislike. I just don't know who my favorite would be. Maggie Smith. Well, like the interpretation of Maggie Smith's Wendy in this, I think is genius. But like if we're going for a conventional Wendy, the 2003 is probably always going to be my favorite. Yeah.
That's interesting. I would venture to say that when I was a child, and I mean, I guess now it doesn't bother me as much, but when I was a kid, Wendy in the animated one annoyed the heck out of me. I don't know what it was.
It's Alice.
I did not like her, and I love Alice.
Yeah.
But I really didn't like her. And then I don't think I really grasped that Maggie Smith was the Wendy until I got older and watched this. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, his wife's Wendy. That's, I don't know. It was weird. Wendy is one of my least favorite characters. I don't particularly, I don't know. It's probably I don't know. She stands for womanhood and having to grow up and all. And I'm like, I'm like, nope. I don't want. Nope. I don't know. I guess Maggie Smith then. Thankfully, I've still avoided watching since I could not be on last week. I still haven't watched the 2003 one. So I guess I have to.
No.
I'd be
but
so interested to hear your thoughts, though.
I know. It just like even the movie poster makes me cringe a little.
I know I can see you going either way because you seem
I'm
to
sure.
like 99% of the time your opinions are almost exactly the same as Kristen, who was on last week.
Oh
Like Kristen
yeah.
Zaza, in terms of your tastes. Like your
Oh
tastes are very similar. So I almost feel like maybe you would love it. Although I think her love is partially rooted in nostalgia, so there is that.
oh my gosh, I do have to try it out. But I'll go with Maggie Smith for this go round.
Good choice. Good choice.
I agree that Wendy is not like my favorite character. I remember trying to like her as a kid in the Disney version, because I liked Michael so much. I loved
Aw.
Michael that Disney version, and I really liked their relationship. How like she was very caring to him, and he was so cute. But I just don't like her. But I don't want to admit it because I don't want to like anything from this movie. I do genuinely think it's the worst movie in the world. Peter Pan 2003 is the worst movie, but I think Rachel Hurd-Wood did an amazing job, and I will say that her Wendy was like much better than like what I think of in the book version or in any stage play adaptation I've seen or the Disney. So I'll do that because I know Maggie Smith is not the conventional Wendy; she's the
Right.
older Wendy.
Yeah.
So if I have to like, if we're sticking to the canon, I'm gonna go with Rachel Hurd-Wood. She was amazing.
Yeah, agreed. As long as we all love Rachel, and yeah, Maggie Smith, a classic. And I still can't get over like the creepy Back to the Future scene. Just
Oh my
why we
God.
keep calling it.
When I figured out, when I came back to the idea of the realization that he, like Peter and Wendy and then Moira, like
Yeah.
it was turning into a little Game of Thrones-ish to me. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
but
is kind of gross.
that's what happens, right? He comes back and remember about what I said at the end of the Kathy Rigby thing. I'm like, and then she's just like, and here's my kid, take her. That's fine. Like, what is this? She's like, I live this awesome life with you. I'm old. Take my kid. That's
like
it's so that's weird to me. I'm like,
but it's even weirder because it's her granddaughter.
yeah.
Granddaughter? It's not her daughter. Moira's was her granddaughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The flashback scenes though, I love them going through the different Wendy's through the years and then seeing Moira in there in the 60s bedroom and like I love that.
The 60s.
Yeah, when like they keep coming back to her and then like it's finally like Maggie Smith in her 40s. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I loved seeing that. I love what Spielberg brought to that because, like I've said on the past live streams, that's one of my favorite scenes when it's done right. I think it can be really powerful when they reunite and then she's an adult and he's still a kid. Like I think there's a lot of emotional resonance in that. And yeah, it's like it's such a blip in Hook, except it plays so well. Even just the way it's shot, like when she turns her face and then like you see, oh my gosh, it's Maggie Smith. We've caught up to her as Wendy. So beautiful. And even just her performance when she's like, I thought you were going to come on my wedding day and stop it. Like this is someone who's lived her entire life enamored with this one person from her childhood that she wasn't able to like build a life with. And there's just something so, I think that's why I find so compelling about Wendy as a character is that like investment that she has in Peter.
Disney Dado says Minnie Driver, adult Wendy narrator, Peter Pan. I don't even know.
Was that Minnie Driver? Oh,
I don't even know which one that is.
That's 2003.
Oh, that's is it? Really?
Is it? Is
I'm
that
assuming
Minnie
it
Driver
is.
doing the narration?
I can't think of any other Peter Pan that Minnie Driver could have narrated.
No, Peter Pan live, like the live.
Oh, was
one.
it Peter Pan live? Oh my gosh!
Like the live one that we don't talk about.
For my Tiger Lily video, I like tracked down that that entire show and watched parts of it, and
then regretted it.
I can't articulate. It's not even one of those things that's so bad that it's fun to watch.
Yes, and we're
It's
talking about the right
boring.
one now.
I didn't even I've never seen that. I'm not intending to see it.
I tried to watch. What was it? Was it that? No. Oh, I tried to watch that live Little Mermaid. thing that they did.
I
Oh,
liked Little
no,
Mermaid live. I thought
that
it was
one was.
fun.
Oh my! I don't know.
I
Maybe it was just John Stamos stinking up the whole thing. I don't know what
Queen
happened.
Latifah as Ursula. It was perfect.
Oy.
I think I've only
Rough.
seen Rent and Sound of Music. Those were the only live ones I saw.
I've
I
Sound
didn't
of
watch
Music
the
live on
Sound of
DVD.
Music one, and I am tempted to, but I don't care much for
terrible.
Carrie Underwood.
Is
Is that who does it? Who is it?
Yeah,
Yes, it's
Maria.
Would, yeah.
She's not great. Sound of Music Live is worth watching for the supporting cast because Laura Benanti and Christian Borle are amazing. They play the Baroness and Uncle Max. And in the stage show, Uncle Max and the Baroness have a bit more to do. Like they have songs and stuff, and then they delve more into how they're sympathizers or how they feel like that's the smart political move to make to survive. And that's how like they clash heads with the captain, which they didn't delve into in the movie because
Not too much. No, there's like one patio scene. Yeah.
and even in the movie, like the Baroness leaves because she's like, I know you're not in love with me, you love her, off I go. Whereas in the original, it's because he's not willing to support Germany and she doesn't want to risk that for herself to be married to somebody who like won't. So yeah, like Laura Benanti is so good. It's worth watching for her. And the kids are cast in a perfect height gradient. So when they stand in a line, it's like a beautiful diagonal. It's so satisfying.
I think I need to give those live actions a little bit more of a chance, but they do make me cringe. Just
they're not great. Grease Live is amazing. Grease Live
is it?
So
okay. Well, I love Grease other than Grease 2. I love all Grease. So
Grease 2 has such a cult following though.
well, I'm not in that cult. No.
You're a cool rider. Cool rider.
Was Christopher Walken Hook in the NBC one?
Yep.
That is amazing. He would be a very good Hook.
And Allison Williams was Pam.
From Girls?
Yep.
From Get Out? Yeah.
Yep. It's terrible. Her accent is not great. Her singing is passable, but again, not great. And it just has this between her and Walken as Hook, who didn't know what he was doing because you could tell he forgot everything as soon as he realized he was live. Like it's just so.
He doesn't need to though. He can just talk and everybody's cool with it.
Oh my gosh, his first scene, like it's just him sitting in the chair. They're like, "Captain, what do we do?" He's like, "Yeah, it's the pan. You have to
not do theater.
The pan." I know it's just, but the Wendy in that is pretty good. It's Taylor Louderman, who was Regina George in Mean Girls the musical. So like, it's kind of a saving grace, but still, the Kathy Rigby musical is it for me. It's my favorite. Kathy Rigby. Okay, so I guess we're on to Hook. Who's our favorite Hook? No, we'll save him for last because that's the hardest one. Who's everyone's favorite Peter? Out of all the Peters.
I think it's the animated one for me. And I don't remember the actor's name, but the Peter Pan in Once Upon a Time, I would also go with. That would be another Pan. I thought that guy was good.
He was terrifying, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love, like I've told you before, I love plays on Pan. I think that's also another reason I love Hook so much is I just love something that's not a straightforward Pan.
Yeah.
So that I would say it's animated or it's the Once Upon a Time one.
What do you remember?
I just realized that we're gonna go on to Hook next, and that Hook is a great Hook.
Oh,
Once Upon a Time.
Oh, right. Colin Donahue?
Colin Donahue,
yeah.
Is that his name? Yeah.
I will say Pan, my favorite Pan would be that little kid that plays Pan at the beginning of this movie. She was the best Pan with her little blonde bangs.
Oh, the one in the school play.
Yeah, the one in the school play. The reason, okay, I don't like, this is wild that I don't like Wendy or Pan. But I think Pan is the true villain in a lot of the adaptations. Like, he steals these kids. He also
goes around stealing hearts and then just leaving women for decades to wonder where the heck he is.
Exactly. He's such a narcissist. He clearly has this incapacity to love and doesn't understand this theory of compassion. So yeah, I'm gonna say the little girl in the beginning of Hook is my Pan.
Okay. It's a bold choice. It says a lot about the other performances, though, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Hashtag Jeremy Sumpter. Did anyone get a cameo from him yet? I wonder.
No, don't give this man money.
Oh, you can buy a cameo from him?
Yeah, it's only 75 US or
I know what
95
Lisa's
Canadian.
getting for her birthday. No.
God.
I went back and watched some of his cameos to confirm that they were as bad as I thought, and they were. It's really awkward.
No.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's basically just he's like, hey, Elizabeth, your friend Beth says that it's your birthday. So yeah, happy birthday. Like if you want to fly off to Neverland, that's what I do. So yeah, it's Jeremy Sumpter. Have a good time. Have a great birthday. Bye. I'm like, you made $75 for that?
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Please, nobody wastes their money on that.
No, you know who you get a cameo from? I've said it last week. I'll say it again. I'll say it till the day I die. Annalise Vanderpool, the exact same price. Her cameos are legit like 5 to 10 minutes of pure chaotic goodness, and like chaotic in a good way, not like the Lost Boys in this movie that makes me cringe. But she's hilarious. She sings. She knows what people want from her, and she delivers. I love Annalise Vanderpool. All the Disney Channel stars should just like be more like her. We love her. Yeah. But yeah, my favorite Pan is Kathy Rigby. I think Kathy Rigby as Peter Pan is like one of
this version.
Have you not?
No.
I personally love it. I think Jeanette wasn't a fan. I can't remember how Lauren was. I think Lauren was like okay with it.
Yeah, he was like just like, I guess because of the age gap, he was floored. He's like, she's a gymnast. I didn't know she played Peter Pan.
But I just think Kathy Rigby as Peter is like, it's an example of absolute perfect casting in terms of physical capabilities. Like I think the voice, her singing voice is so good for it. And she's a really solid actor who just hits a lot of the emotional layers that I think Peter needs to hit that I don't see from any other Pans. Plus, like, she flies and it's really cool because she was a gymnast. So like she does all these flips in the air. It just, so good.
Is this person in the chat related to you, Lisa?
Yeah, my mom just said Mia Farrow.
When did Mia Farrow play her?
There's apparently a Peter Pan movie from 1976.
What?
Yeah. And look, okay, I don't know if you can see it. That's Mia Farrow.
I was literally thinking a few minutes ago, oh, Mia Farrow would be a great Peter Pan, or would have been. And now I'm like, holy smokes, there was.
I need to know more about this.
I had no idea this movie existed.
Oh, now I really want to see it because she would.
I would have put
really
that. I would have put that in
fabulous.
the marathon. Oh,
Next time.
Who is her hook? Oh, her hook looks like. Is that the guy from Pink Panther? No way.
Oh,
Danny
Peter Sellers?
Oh my God, Julie Andrews is in it?
What? Who's Julie Andrews?
No, I don't think Julie Andrews is in it. It's probably a mistake.
Okay. What we got here? Jim Parsons did Pan and S. I vaguely remember that, and that was hilarious.
Oh, Danny Kaye, whoever
Got a
that
fan
is,
of Mary
was
Martin.
Hook. And they did have a person of color as Tiger Lily.
Yeah, Paula Kelly.
Which I think at that point might have been a first, yes?
Probably.
At that point in time.
Huh. Well.
Wow, thanks,
There's
Mom.
so many more Pan adaptations to look forward to.
Thanks, Lisa's mom. This is
Peter
great.
Pan Month Part 2. All right. And the man of the hour. Who's everyone's favorite hook out of all the hooks that ever hooked?
Okay. So, easiest on the eyes hook. Once Upon a Time. A lot of eyeliner. I will prescribe a lot of eyeliner for any book. Favorite though, acting, overall, live action, animated, whatever, is Dustin Hoffman. Best hook.
I'm gonna go with 2013. Not 2013, 2003 Peter Pan. Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah, Jason Isaacs. And again, I hate the movie so much. It's the worst movie ever. But he was like so vicious. He's like everything I wanted in a hook. He's everything that I wanted with like his sword fighting, his like killing. It was so good. And I really appreciated their double casting of him and Mr. Darling. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that, even though it's still the worst movie ever.
Oh, and I agree. That's my pick too. I think like there are so many good hooks, but to me, Jason Isaac is just the penultimate hook. Like that to me is the truest hook. And then again, just layering in the double casting and getting to have him as both Mr. Darling and Hook, and then just seeing how vastly different he's able to portray the characters, where I think double casting of that nature is so much trickier in film because it's like such a more intimate medium as opposed to on stage where you have that physical distance, so you can buy into it a little bit more. But even with that, he doesn't look that different, but he does at the same time, just by merit of how he's carrying himself. And such a good hook.
I imagine if I do finally watch this movie, I'm going to have a strong problem disconnecting him from Lucius Malfoy. No, but so I'm like, all I'm thinking of as Mr. Darling is Lucius Malfoy with black hair. That's like all I'm picturing in my head.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I think that's what I thought too when it first came out, even rewatching it recently, but he makes it different enough. And I think Mr. Darling is written to be different enough from what he's normally portrayed as that he doesn't really bleed into Lucius Malfoy territory.
Yeah, in typical Peter Pan, like obviously in Hook, there is no Mr. Darling, so it really doesn't work out that way. But like I'd said the first week around, like it is really important. It's very important. And to have the actor be able to really differentiate is between the roles.
Bob agrees.
Yeah, I think it's really important for especially like a theater show to have the double casting.
He was one of my favorites in that Kathy Rigby one too. Him and Smee really were the parts that I genuinely enjoyed.
Well, I love that Hook as well.
Hook and Smee are on there.
Yeah. And yeah, you can't really go wrong with Hook either. Just I think it's such an important role that it's almost always perfectly cast because it's such a good role that like the good people want to do it. And we have Jude Law next, which will be interesting. So
I'm a little nervous now. I know last week when I found out about that, I was excited, but now I'm like, can he be a good Hook? I don't know.
I don't know that I've ever seen him go as big and theatrical as Hook needs to be. Again, because I confuse him with Ewan McGregor. I think Ewan McGregor would be a great Hook.
I always confuse Ewan McGregor and Kenneth Branagh together.
Really?
Yeah.
I grew up definitely confusing Jude Law and Ewan McGregor for sure. Like, and then you get older and you're like, no, I can totally see it now.
Yeah. Except, I mean, just imagine how good Ewan would be as Captain Hook.
He would be.
He's too nice.
No, I think
too nice.
I think he can pull it off.
I think Ewan McGregor is an excellent actor. I
think he's an excellent actor, but I can't. He always just seems so gosh darn nice. I can't see him being anything but nice.
You know what I want? I want Ewan McGregor to be Mr. Darling, and I want Jude Law to be Hook.
Amazing.
That's my movie.
Yeah, you'll always forever confuse them that way. Then,
well, like then they'll just be so perfectly linked that there'll be like a bit of a connection, but not quite. Like it's perfect. In my mind movie, that's what's happening. There it is. There we go. What's this? Oh, except Christopher Walken. Exactly.
Okay. Christopher Walken because he allegedly is responsible for Natalie Wood's death. So.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
What was her husband who killed her? Allegedly killed her? I don't know. Anyway.
Was it actually? Oh, I didn't realize it was a murder. I thought it was like a manslaughter.
She fell off of a boat.
Yeah. Why would she? Why would she go on a boat? Because she was so afraid of water. It doesn't make any sense. Second of all, why were they drinking? And third, we all know that.
What else are you gonna do on a boat?
I know it's true. But they were in a very abusive relationship, so it looks suspicious. Anyway. Different conversation for another.
Yeah.
We got to vote for Cumberbatch's Hook. I could see it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't want to like it, but I like it. I don't want to like Cumberbatch, but I like that idea.
Yeah. When was Cumberbatch Hook?
Oh no, just
I think
a suggestion.
We're dreamcasting.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's dreamcast before we go to the game because we're already kind of doing it. So
Sure. Well, Mia Farrow was my Peter Pan, but that's happened
Perfect.
in real life, and we didn't know that.
actually, I don't have any kids that I want to play Peter Pan right now, so I don't have any choices for that.
I would love to see Zendaya as Peter Pan. That would be a cool choice.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would have picked Evan Peters back before he got to the age he's at now, but definitely I would have put Evan Peters in when he was like maybe about 8 years younger, right when he first started doing American Horror Story, maybe about 10 years ago. So, yeah, I would have taken that. I don't like Wendy, so I don't know who I would put in there. Natalie Portman at her when she again younger.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing all of this based on somebody when they were like age appropriate.
Age appropriate? I respect that.
Yeah. Natalie Portman I would have gone with, but I'll put her in just about anything really. So
See, when we said Zendaya, now I'm just like, I want her as Wendy because I like Wendy better as a character.
she's got such more of a backbone than Wendy does.
But I think about what she did with MJ in the Spider-Man universe, and like I love her version of MJ so much. So I think she could also do an amazing Wendy.
Yeah, but she can do anything. Like Zendaya could be Captain Hook, and that would be amazing.
Zendaya can do no
Honestly,
wrong.
can you just take the whole Spider-Man? I mean, because Willem Dafoe as Captain Hook would be amazing.
Oh my gosh, you're right. The entire Spider-Man.
The entire Spider-Man cast
Tom,
just needs to
Tom.
do Peter Pan.
Oh my God,
Yes.
Thomas Peter.
Tom is
Yes.
Peter.
And then can you
Zendaya
imagine
as
his
Wendy.
friend, his best friend, as like the head
As a
lost
lost
boy or whatever?
Wait,
It's amazing.
Oh my God, we've
We're done.
unlocked the code.
that's it.
That's it.
We
That's
did
the
it.
cast.
Spider-Man.
Oh my
cast.
gosh, Alfred Molina will be Smee.
Yes. Yes.
Or Tom Holland's best friend is Smee. That kid would work great too. I mean,
No, he needs to be a
Either
lost boy.
way.
We can't separate
He's
them. We
lost.
can't
Yeah,
separate
and like
them.
Dr. Octopus and a Green Goblin being in cahoots with each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
this is perfect.
Wow. I can't believe that.
There's
Solve
9
that
people
problem.
watching. I hope one of them works at Disney because there you go.
We
I know you-
Oh, Disney Dado just had an amazing idea that I really wish would happen.
What?
An American Horror Story season based on Peter Pan.
Oh, that would be cool.
Oh,
I
so
love it,
good.
and it's amazing, and it's an alternate Pan universe. So
I love
I'm in.
We do love alternate pans.
I'd watch it.
Fun. Oh, and I was also going to mention, I forgot, backtrack a little bit to when we were talking about Captain Hook castings. Something I saw once that was really interesting. It was a production that was, I think, the National Theater, and they had the mom double as Captain Hook. So Hook was a female, which was interesting.
Ooh,
I
like
love
that.
that.
Never
Yeah.
said. I don't think we've ever had a female. Hook
And
yet.
Mr. Darling doubled as Smee. So
I'm
that's-
sorry.
yeah.
Kate Blanchett as Hook.
Oh, Kate Blanchett can do literally everything. Okay, I'm fine with anything and every. She could play every role. Can we just have like an Eddie Murphy style Peter Pan where Kate Blanchett is every role?
When I think of Kate Blanchett, I just think of that moment in Kimmy Schmidt when Billy on the street is going up to people saying, "Sir, for $1, Kate Blanchett, is she good or is she just tall?"
That is offensive. But also might be accurate.
Going to comments. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman played Hook in Hook.
In
Yeah.
It's a fan favorite.
I know he looks so different.
Javier Bardem is Hook.
He was like evil Hook in the third Pirates of the Caribbean.
Was he? I haven't
He
seen
played an evil pirate
fourth
with
one?
barnacles on his face.
Is that the third or the fourth one?
Is it? Oh, maybe it is the fourth one.
With Penelope Cruz?
Isn't that where
No,
they-
that was with what's that guy's name? I don't know that guy's name, but no, different one. It's the one before, I think. I think it's on Strange Tides, which is maybe that's
No,
four.
Strange
Maybe
Tides
that's
is 4.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Javier Bardem plays an evil pirate.
So
that kind of it counts, right?
I need to rewatch the pirate movies. So good. All right. Speaking of pirates, our game for today is all about pirates.
Yay!
So I didn't come up with a fun, cute name for it. I probably should have. I guess we can call it like Hooked on Pirates. There you
Nice.
go. Like Hooked on Phonics.
Hooked on pirates.
Yeah, Hooked on
I just-
Pirates.
that's the PH. Sorry.
So I'm going to show you a Captain Hook, and you have to tell me which version of Peter Pan this hook is from.
Oh God.
Yeah,
no.
you would think so, but literally there
Do we need to
were-
know the title, or can we just know the year, or can we
I mean,
like?
if it's like Peter Pan
it's a weird title?
2003, you could just say the Peter Pan from early 2000s. Like if you
Okay.
use your words to identify which specific one, as opposed to just like it's the Peter Pan movie. I'm like, that doesn't count. No. So this kind of runs the gamut of movies, TV shows, stage shows, because even though you would think there's a lot of hooks, there's not. There's there's literally 10, and they're the ones we're looking at today. Plus a special bonus one. Okay, how do I do this? I haven't done a screen share for a while. We're going to start with, this is just a fun one. There we go. So does anyone know which production of Peter Pan this hook is from?
Do we write it down or say it?
No, write it down.
Okay.
Wait, I'm not done.
Okay.
Wait. Okay, I'm done.
3, 2, 1. That's you, Matt Cawthorberg. Can you imagine if Cawthor did Peter Pan? That would actually probably be amazing.
That would be.
This is from Peter Pan and Friends, which was a production at a hotel in Niagara Falls last year.
Cool.
I know, right? That was the test. That was the test round. Okay. So you both get a point, and by that merit, you both didn't get a point. Next, here we go.
Oh.
Had to throw in some easy ones. Oh my gosh, Bob Hunt knew Niagara Falls. Bob, you got a point. A legit point. Good job. All right, 3, 2, 1.
I don't remember.
Yes, of course, this is the Disney one. I had to start with the easiest one. They get harder.
There you go. Yeah.
My mom's mad. She's like, "Oh, come on, this is sweet."
Oh, don't worry. They get harder. For example, boom.
Oh,
what the heck is that? Okay.
I will say.
Oh wait, no, I know that's not right now.
This actor won a Tony Award for this performance as Hook.
Okay, well then I guess this is my guess.
Fun fact, this actor is in the Gilmore Girls revival, and he's literally only in it for the musical number, which is the worst part of the Gilmore Girls revival. If anybody understands, I'm a little bit traumatized.
I'll take it. All right, let's see. 3, 2, 1. Broadway. No, it's from Peter and the Starcatcher.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, shoot. No, I don't know what the heck that is.
Definitely was on Broadway, Matt.
That's true. It was.
When you said Tony, I was just like, okay.
The Broadway one. No. Use of my own discretion, and as the commissioner, I say no point. Or, you know what? You both get a point.
Because it doesn't matter if
Exactly.
we both don't get a point.
Next.
It really matters.
Oh.
Wow, that's him, huh?
She goes, wow. What
That's
is
him.
with that hair? That's a bad
That's the
hair.
one.
He does look like a murderer.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
We're
Let's
ready?
go. 3, 2, 1. NBC, you both got it.
He looks like a dad.
Peter and the Starcatcher. Whoever heard of that?
NBC Live. Walk in. All right. Next.
Well, this isn't who I thought it was. I don't know. I'm gonna
I included the little title at the top just to confirm that this is in fact a Captain Hook.
Yeah. Maybe this is that thing I saw today whenever I was looking something. Okay, I'm gonna guess here. I don't know what year it came out, but this was the title.
All right.
I don't know.
Oh, this might be the round that breaks it.
Yeah.
Breaks the tie. Let's go. 3,
All right.
2, 1. Once upon a time. It's Pan. Jeanette. you
Yeah,
get the point.
I saw that on IMDb today when I looked something up.
My mom's like too cute for Mom.
This guy is not a good hook. This is not the right hook.
Well, I think the whole thing in this movie is that Hugh Jackman is like the more traditional pirate. I think he's Blackbeard, and this is Young Hook. And I haven't seen the movie, but I'm guessing that he like becomes less cute and more evil.
I didn't even know it existed. It just showed up in the lineup of Pan movies, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?"
that was the one where they cast Rooney Mara as Tiger Lily. That was a choice.
Ooh.
which at the like in all years people should always know better, but like especially in like the 2010s. I mean, come on.
Yeah, zero excuse.
Yeah, and Rooney Mara was at a point in her career where like she didn't need that movie. She didn't.
No,
need
she'd
that
done
role.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
She could have done so many things, and that's what she picked. Come on, Rooney. Come on.
Disappointing.
Next.
Ah! I watched this enough times.
I love that reaction.
It's been years, at least since she was 4. So
I've never seen this.
I don't
one.
even know what this is, but it reminds me of a certain animation. So
Okay. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Phineas and Ferb. Yes, it is Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Although, is Phineas and Ferb a
Jake and
Disney
the
show?
Neverland Pirates
well,
and
the
me. Sorry,
animation looks so familiar to like Phineas.
it's Disney Junior,
Yeah,
baby.
I think that's why. Because I think it's assuming Phineas and Ferb is also Disney Junior or Disney Animation, it's the
Yeah.
style carries
Yeah.
over.
Yep.
So cute.
Yeah, this was like her favorite show for ages. Oh,
Is
my
it good?
God.
Like, should I watch it?
It's adorable, and it actually has some canon in it and stuff. It's
Oh,
so
cute.
great.
Okay.
It's so
I'm a
great.
fan of canon.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Canon.
Right. Next.
Can we just say Broadway again?
No.
Okay.
Why does that guy look like what's his face? Why does he look like
He
Jake
is.
Gyllenhaal in Donnie
Oh.
Darko in the face? Like he
Oh my
looks like
gosh.
he's having problems.
That's the guy from Glee, the teacher.
Yeah, it's Matthew Morrison.
I don't know who that is.
It's
but
Mr.
okay.
Shoe.
Mr. Shoe.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Jake and the Neverland.
I'm gonna making it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this up.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Finding Neverland. You got it, Lisa.
That was your guess.
Where is
That
this in Finding Neverland?
I don't know. I have no interest in that musical, but it exists, and there you go.
Oh,
Okay.
not
not the movie.
oh. I was
Yeah.
like, where is this in Finding Neverland?
Because
What?
he's dressed like J.M. Barrie, and I'm like, the only thing that I know of J.M. Barrie is being in it is Finding Neverland.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay. I just
Yeah.
decided to name a year and put Peter Pan in front of it.
That's a good fallback strategy. I respect that.
That's
No,
really good.
and it's Kelsey Grammer as Hook.
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
that does look familiar. He's a
Come
little
on,
rounder
Kelsey
than
Grammer?
Kelsey Grammer used to be.
Yeah.
He is the Beast in X-Men too. Like,
Yeah, you didn't know
I know that.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. Love Kelsey Grammer, apparently.
Yeah.
It's a Pan favorite. All right, next.
Oh. I think if I'm seeing this man's face right.
Okay. I'm good.
All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's 2003 Peter
Okay.
Pan.
The best hook. The most
The best
vicious
hook. Even though, like, I kind of get that same feeling, even though I know it's Jason Isaac, it still doesn't look like Jason Isaac.
It
in this
doesn't. I was
specific
like,
picture.
that's Jason Isaac. I don't like his actual hook. I didn't know it was all
Oh, he
weird and
changes that
angular.
throughout
Oh
the
my
movie.
God.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's all
He puts his hook on with like the
Oh,
strap.
it's so cool.
That
oh,
is
like an actual
cool.
prosthetic arm would be put on. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like the very first scene, you see him without the hook, and then he has this whole it's so cool.
It's
And
like
he has
this
all these
cool-
different hook attachments.
Yeah. So good. And then like he has like a double hook, like
Mhm.
2 hooks. Oh, so excellent.
So many hooks. I tried to fashion a game based around just hook accessories, but there weren't enough. for the game.
Aw.
I know. Like in the Disney one, we get that briefly where like he has a corkscrew and he has one that's like a nutcracker and like a
Ooh.
fork and a knife. And just it's so practical.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Disney Data put Star Trek Discovery, Jason Isaac's current role. He's the captain on there. We haven't gotten too far into it. We're only in like the 3rd episode or something, but yeah.
I didn't know Jason Isaac was still doing stuff. Good for him.
Oh yeah.
I like him.
I
Next.
do too. Oh, do we have to say like the full name or can we just say
Like if write what you think it is, and I'll determine if I think you're right enough.
I can't remember the suffix to this title. I do know what it is. I'm trying to remember the suffix, but I cannot. There's too many at this point, honestly.
Yes. All right.
Okay, I don't know.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Before Neverland.
Before we were finding Neverland, there was before.
Before Never. I want to give you a point just because that's such a good answer, but no, it is Tinkerbell and the Pirate Fairy or something like that.
Yeah.
And see, look over to the left. That's, I'm assuming, the Pirate Fairy.
That is the Pirate Fairy, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's young Hook, and he's voiced by Tom Hiddleston.
Oh,
I didn't know that when I watched it,
Yeah.
though.
And he has a
That's
song,
interesting.
so I've been told. And
Yes,
it's quite the toe tapper.
I do remember there. Yeah, it's like a Brigit song or whatever. Yeah, Frigate. That's what it is. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. Next.
Oh. I literally misspelled this name, and how did I do that? I mean,
all right, ready?
yeah.
3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's the Shrek movie.
I put a CK on the end of his name.
Shrek.
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 I haven't made my way to Shrek 3, so I haven't actually seen this this Hook in action.
Me neither.
Oh yeah, I have seen Shrek 3, but I've seen it the least of all the Shreks.
Next, I think this might be the last of the regular round. Yes, it is.
Okay, I know this one for sure.
We're all like, "Oh yes, I know this."
I had to end on a fan favorite, obviously.
Oh, yes.
All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1. Yes, of course, it's Once Upon a Time. All right, so this is tight. Lisa, you have 8, and Jeanette, you have 9.
Ooh, good job.
I know. So for the last round, how many points would we like to wager?
3.
3. Oh, okay.
And I'll go all in.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you an image that just showed up in my Google search when I was looking for Captain Hook images,
Oh, no.
which is somebody's Photoshop job from DeviantArt. And it is a mashup of Dustin Hoffman's Hook with another Dustin Hoffman character. I would like you to tell me who the other Dustin Hoffman character is that we have in this mashup.
Oh,
Okay.
It's not Meet the Parents, I take it. Oh, come on now. Really?
Oh, maybe this is too easy. I want the character's name, not the movie.
Yeah. Isn't that the character's name?
Damn it!
The title of the movie is not the title of the character.
Oh, geez. Well, then, I thought that was her name. What? I don't know.
I'll take the title of the movie.
Well, that's what I'm putting.
Okay.
Lisa's really trying though. She knows it. She knows it more than I know it. I've only seen this movie once.
All right.
I've seen this
Lisa,
movie in
writing?
montages like 3 times.
Yeah,
I've actually seen the movie.
Oh my gosh! Someone in the comments got it.
Okay.
Oh God! Of course he did.
I got it.
Okay, let's see. 3, 2, 1. Dorothy.
She got it.
I knew it.
How did you?
I remember it being the same as the Wizard of Oz.
That's amazing. You have 12. You won.
She got it.
I am so impressed.
Right?
Good job. Yes, it's Dorothy Michaels or Mike. Wow, good job.
I would not have gotten the last.
Jeez.
I only know from Tootsie the Musical, which I have only heard one song, the one they did at the Tonys. And it's not a good song, but it's one that I keep listening to because it's really catchy. And he sings Dorothy Michaels a lot, as well as Michael Dorsey.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, Michael
Oh.
Dorothy Michaels. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've seen this movie one time a long time ago.
I remember when I first saw it, I remember being like, "Oh, Dorothy, like the Wizard of Oz," because I was still I was like a teenager. So.
Dorothy, brilliant. All right, Lisa, you won. Yay!
Yay! Woo!
Woo! Thrilling.
Thanks for all the
Okay,
support.
let's check in here. Disney Dado is a fan. Yeah, no, I thought her name
I
was
thought her
Tootsie
name
as
was
well,
Tootsie too.
but it's Dorothy. Dorothy Michaels. Da, 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 da. That's the song. Again, not a good song, but very catchy. Yeah, it's called Impossible. No, I can't remember. Don't even
No,
look
that's
it up. It's not great.
Cinderella. No.
You're right. Oh, the best Cinderella. Love that movie. I hear. Was telling Jeanette that Hook has Mrs. Doubtfire and Tootsie. Oh, it's true. Because yeah, we have Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams. The
Robin
two
Williams
classic.
pre Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
We should have hired professional drag queens.
They should,
A
can you
drag
imagine?
Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan really is drag. It's
Yeah,
drag king,
yeah.
but like
Part of the tradition.
drag Peter Pan would be amazing.
My gosh, can you just imagine how fierce it would be? Be so good.
The
Just give me
casting
like just even a RuPaul Drag Race challenge that's just pan based.
is Peter Pan.
Done
Yes,
something
please.
like that.
Yes, please.
I think they did it for Wizard of Oz, like towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
in one of the earlier seasons. Yes, they did.
Yeah, but I think they've veered away from doing fun things like that. They've done other fun things, but like that was the type of challenge where I was like, I hope we got this every season. Then we didn't.
Oh.
But we
I
did
know.
get Snatch Game.
Oh, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
we might as well not have gotten it this season.
This season, yeah. Do not ruin anything.
We will
it's no, they ruined their own Smash game. You'll see. It's not bad. It's just underwhelming compared to
That's fair.
past years, but yeah. All right. Anyway, here we go. Closing thoughts for either Hook or just the Peter Pan phenomenon in general. Anything that we haven't addressed that you'd like to discuss, or just closing statements. Jeanette, we'll start with you.
Just that this has been awesome. I think going through different versions, tackling early on maybe some of the more problematic things with the story, and then moving into stories that were slightly more comfortable to deal with, ending with Hook, who just avoids the issue altogether. I like it. I do think Peter Pan can, if you're talking about different iterations of it, can start a conversation like Denny says that they want to do. So yeah, I think it can start a conversation. Aside from that, I think it's an important tale. I think it's up there with Aesop's fables that children need to read it because it does tell them things about growing up and imagination and about being a child and how important it is to be a child when you can be a child. I think it's an important story, and I've had a great time coming and talking about it.
Oh, had a great time having you. Lisa, closing thoughts.
My closing thought for this movie is something that I really appreciated, which was just a really tiny moment in the movie at the beginning when they come into the kids' bedroom at Wendy's house. That mural shot that they tells so much in just that single slow shot. And that I think is why Spielberg is such an amazing movie maker, because that shot just encapsulated what the story of Peter Pan is, and the adventure and just the adventure of what the story is, and the adventure of life as Peter Pan. But yeah, like Jeanette, it's been such a pleasure revisiting these movies and doing a deep dive and having important conversations, like the problematic parts of the story. But I think it's such a great hero's journey. It's such a great adventure story, and I think I'll always have a soft spot for Peter Pan, even though I've come to realize that I don't like the character very much. But there's a lot of lessons to be learned in the stories, and I think that's why these fairy tales and these fables are so important to be told. So, yay for storytelling!
Yay for storytelling, indeed. Yeah, just to echo everything that's been said, I've loved just revisiting so many different versions of the same story. Like, I'm all about adaptations. I find adaptations so thrilling, and I love Peter Pan, the story and the original text. And I've realized that I'm very much a purist when it comes to Peter Pan, unless it's a very like vast reinterpretation, because like Jeanette, I love a Pan adaptation that's really kind of out there. Kind of wish I programmed more of those, but also I don't know if I could take more than a month of Peter Pan, because I like yes. But it was so delightful. It was so great getting together with both of you, as well as our other guests who joined us over the past 3 weeks, just to discuss all the things that there were to discuss. Like, it's just a story that has so much to it, and so many conversation starters. And I think that's why it's survived and been popular for so long, just because outside of the popularity factor and the fun, there's just a lot of depth to it that makes it a story worth revisiting and retelling. And I love it so much. But with that said, with us wrapping up this movie marathon, now we get to officially announce the next one, which I'm super excited for. Yay! So anyone in the chat, since we haven't announced it yet, does anyone want to guess what our next movie marathon is going to be?
Somebody in the chat has a little bit of a cheat. I'll tell you that.
Oh, really?
Don't trust them.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if Lisa knows. Disney Dado is my husband. So.
Oh, I assumed.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I said that, but yeah.
Actually, there's 2 people in the chat that would know my partner.
Oh, yeah.
So
let's see. Well, while we wait for the guesses to come in, some comments. Martha's thank you, Martha. Always great having you watch. Thank you for supporting my work, mother. Next, Bob Hunt, the marathon caused you to read the book for the first time. It is super cool. I downloaded the book and started to read it, and then I ran out of time and didn't. But I love the book. All right. I don't see any guesses coming in. I guess people are just like waiting, anticipated. Here we go. We're doing the Robin Williams movie marathon next. It's going to be 5 weeks of Robin Williams goodness. So I can't remember the order of the films, but we have Jumanji in there, Dead Poet Society. No, Dead Poets is first.
Yep.
Jumanji.
Yep.
1 Hour Photo.
And then Birdcage.
Then Birdcage and Mrs. Doubtfire. Yes.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Didn't you say you'd never seen Birdcage?
I've seen it once.
I've never seen 1 Hour Photo or Birdcage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Birdcage is just like very, very influential. I love that movie.
Yeah. No, just seeing how much people do love it. I'm excited to see it again and just to discuss it, because like I feel like there's a lot to say about all these movies. Really, it's going to be fun just seeing his career in all these different perspectives, especially.
I'll be watching Dead Poets Society for the first time.
I'm so excited for you. I watched it for the first time recently, like in the last 2 or 3 months, and I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah. Woo! But that does not start next week. That starts in 2 weeks, because next week we're doing a Teacup Trivia Night. Woo!
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah. So it's Kahoot Trivia. So it'll just be me, but then anyone can play along at home on their phones. You log in, there's a code, you play along. It's so much fun. Lisa, you should play.
I'm coming. I'm going to play. I'm going to do it.
So it's Disney Plus themed. So it's all questions based around the things that you would find on Disney Plus. So there's some classic Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic, Disney Plus originals.
I'll have to brush up on my National Geographic.
Right? Just like, what is a lion's prey?
Oh, you're in Canada. Does that mean that there's going to be Pam and Tommy questions too?
You better put Pam and Tommy.
Yeah.
Is Pam and Tommy not on Disney Plus in the States?
No, it's on Hulu.
Oh, I thought Hulu was part of Disney Plus, no?
You can get them as a package, but they're not the same thing.
Well, Pam and Tommy, there will be a question. Don't worry.
Yes.
I love that show. So stay tuned for that, everyone. But with that, oh, wow, we're almost at 2 hours again. The
I know, right?
Time just flies. There it is. All right. So I'm going to let each of our guests sign off. Tell us again where we can find them. I encourage everyone watching, go follow them on their respective platforms. See all the fun and exciting things that they are doing, because the things they are doing are fun and exciting. Let's start with Lisa.
Hello, everyone. You guys can follow me at Lisa_A_Alves on Instagram, where I post all my fun, cute little pictures of Eleanor Waffles and Theodora Umbrella. I'm also like having so much fun making reels. I just learned how to make a reel and do TikTok. So follow my journey there. And you can also follow my theater company that I'm the manager producer at Cahoots Theater, we will be announcing our show coming up in June. So stay tuned for that if you're in Toronto, Canada. Thanks so much for having me on, Matt.
Thanks, Lisa. Until next time, Jeanette.
Hey, so you can find me at TinkerJ787 on Instagram every Monday or Tuesday. I do a Marvel Monday post about the ladies of Marvel. You can also find me here on Teacup for One Movie Marathon. And then I am a co-host on We Like Theme Parks podcast. It's also on YouTube, and you can find us on the Disnerdy Network, and that's on YouTube and Instagram. And then starting May 22nd, I'll be doing a show Sunday nights with Miriam, which is the Churro Fund over on We Like Theme Parks, and Sammy D from JSA Creations, and we will be called the Dole Whip Darlings. So we'll be talking all things cute Disney, Disney fashions, Disney trends, and I think our first episode, we are starting with Disney bounding.
Oh, that's thrilling. I can't wait. All right. Thank you, Jeanette. And of course, if you're watching the channel, this is my channel. This is where I do all the stuff. Movie marathons, trivia nights, video essays, and Funko Pops. Hold on. I just got this one. It's Rainbow Unicorn from Inside Out. She's holding a coffee cup. And even though she's beautiful, she looks tired and unimpressed. And I think we can all relate. There it is. Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us for Peter Pan Month. Can't wait to rejoin everyone in 2 weeks from now for the kickoff of the Robin Williams movie marathon. Please feel free to join us for that. Join in the conversation. And if you want to keep discussing movies with us, we do have a Discord server. Right now, we have a total of 3 members, but they're all awesome people. You could be one of those people. Come talk to us. I linked it in the comments. But until next time, friends, thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And this has been the Tea Cup for One. How do I end this?